Hi, this is Ringa and this is my video about art block and how to beat it. Now, I've been watching a lot of artists on YouTube recently doing videos about just general aspects of art, and I've been really inspired to do my own. And I thought a subject that would be good to talk about, especially with this speed paint, is art block, because the morning I drew this, well, afternoon I drew this, I did actually have a really bad art block. And it was just one of those things where everything I drew, it just looked bad, and I couldn't figure out why. And it probably didn't even look that bad, but my brain was like, hate it, hate it. Everything I drew I hated. And it's something that happens to me quite a lot. It's especially difficult in the week. Sometimes I'll come home from work and I just get so frustrated because it feels like everything I draw is so bad. So I'll kind of just give up and I'll go do something else. But I'm really trying to avoid that in 2018. I really want to push myself to do more art and not just give up and play a video game and make some food or, you know, cut corners essentially, and not give myself enough time to draw. Because looking back at my 2017 art summary, in a lot of months I only did like one picture. And it's really upsetting actually. As somebody who would like to improve, I just find that I'm not doing enough. So that's one of my 2018 goals, is to try and draw more and try to overcome the art block that I face quite a lot of the time. So these are the techniques that usually work for me. They might not work for you, they most definitely won't work for everybody, but at least it's a starting point. You know, I find a lot when I research art block, a lot of the time the main tip is to go do something else. And I think that tip's fine if you're a young artist and you've got lots of free time. But, you know, I have only a certain amount of free time in the week, and if I spend, you know, 3 hours on the PlayStation on a Thursday night, I've got to wake up Friday and go to work. And by the time I come home, I'm in a bad mood again. And then I'm doing the same thing. I'm not beating art block, I'm giving up, I'm doing something else. Then I'm going to bed and I'm feeling rubbish because I didn't draw. It's like a spiral of just self-defeating attitudes. And it's something, as I said, I really want to get out of the habit of. So my first port of call, usually when I don't have a clue what to draw, and I just can't get inspired, is to trawl through DeviantArt or any kind of website at all for inspiration. So inspiration can come in any shape or size. It doesn't have to be just art that you personally like. So say you're an anime artist like I am, just looking at anime art might not inspire me. I mean, sometimes it does. Sometimes I'll see something really super duper kawaii and I'm like, I haven't drawn anything sicklingly sweet in ages, let's do this. But sometimes it's stuff that I wouldn't even look at if it wasn't on the first page of DeviantArt. It could be a picture of like some 3D render of a bug or something, but if the lighting's good and the composition's nice, I'm like, I like that, I'm gonna try and emulate that. So it's trying to find something that will inspire you, something that you can not all and out copy, but just something you can really resonate with and think, oh, I want to produce something like that. So I usually find my best inspirations come from photography, mostly cosplay photography. There is a theory behind this. Not only is it based in real life, obviously, because it's photography of a real human being, so anatomy is always going to be spot on. So if I am trying to reference a pose, I at least have the true image of how it would look on a human being, instead of, say, seeing a picture of Captain America that I really like and I'm like, oh, I want to copy that pose. I'm copying a stylized version of that pose, and I could be copying something which isn't anatomically correct. So I find with cosplay photography, not only is it based in real life, but it's also a lot of the time very exaggerated because you are portraying an anime character or a comic book character or whatever. So it's usually dramatic and cool looking, and it's usually got really nice composition, and it's usually got an interesting expression, but it is still based in reality, and it is still something you can reference with, oh yeah, the foot's supposed to look like that, instead of oh, the artist drew the foot that way because that's the only way they can draw feet. So yeah, I find cosplay photography one of the best resources for picking a pose. I also do check out some like stock reference websites as well, and accounts. But yeah, usually cosplay photography is up there. It's up there as one of my best inspirations, as well as fashion photography, because again, it's usually very dramatic and it usually has like a cool outfit as well that you can be inspired by. And even if it's drawing an existing character in that clothes or thinking up an idea for an original outfit for one of your original characters, like sometimes fashion posts are really helpful. And sometimes screenshots from movies as well, although this is less of a thing. Sorry, I just got a 20% battery message on my iPhone. Fun fact, I'm recording this on my iPhone because I don't own a microphone anymore. Ever since I moved out, I forgot to bring it with me. But yeah, I would say try and get inspired from real life photography. I think Pinterest is quite a good resource as well, although it's not one I've ever really used. So that's point one, is get inspired. Point two is, if that's not working for you, and you just can't think of anything, there's nothing that inspires you and it's just, it's all a bit meh. I like to go through my old art and find something I did horrendously bad and just do it better. It doesn't have to be a pose. Again, it can be a character you want to redesign. It could be a pose, it could be a composition that you thought was great when you drew it when you were 14, but now, you know, you don't like it now. Or, you know, anything at all. Sometimes it's really therapeutic to just do something you've done before but better. And you don't have to sit there and think up an idea because you're already working from something you've thought up, but it's just executing it better. And it does, a lot of the time, help me get out of art block, because I realise, yeah, I'm not perfect. Yeah, there's still a lot of things I get wrong in art, but I am so much better than I used to be. And sometimes it's just that knowledge that helps you push out of that art block. Another thing that I find as well, this is kind of a last resort, is switching up the medium. So if you follow any of my accounts online, you'll see I'm predominantly a digital artist. This is just personal preference. I really like digital art. I really like how clean and organised I can be. I used to, for years, I would never do anything traditional. But recently I've been trying to get back into it, because not only can I do it on the go, which is good because sometimes I'll be stuck on like a train trip to London to go to MCM or something and I'll just be bored and mindless. It's also good for me personally anyway, it's good for giving my mind different things to focus on. So for me personally, when I'm at the PC, I'm just focusing on my art completely. I don't have to think twice about how to use the art program because I've been using Sci for years. I know where all my brushes are. I know what I'm doing. Well, I don't know what I'm doing, but I know where. I know the basics, and I know how to use it. And it's literally just what I would call a pure drawing experience for me, because it's my predominant medium. But when I sit at my dining room table, it's not really a dining room, we have a breakfast bar. But when I sit there and I get a piece of paper out and a pencil, I'm not just thinking about the drawing, it's about the medium. And sometimes having that different thing to focus on can stop you from hyper-focusing on your art and giving up on it before you have a chance to rectify mistakes. Because that's one of my problems, is I will give up on a sketch without sitting down and focusing on why doesn't it work. Instead of why doesn't it work, I'm like, it's going in the bin. And that doesn't help. You don't learn anything from that. I just throw it away. And then I'll never try that pose again. Well, I probably will, but in that sitting I won't try that pose again. And at the end of the day, what have I learned? I learned to not try something. So by sitting and trying a different medium, me personally, I find that I'm a lot more focused on, oh, I've got to pick a pick the right kind of pencil, and I've got to make sure I'm sketching light, because if I want to go over this with a darker pencil, I don't want to be pressing into the paper too much, and you know, my mind is focused on different things, and I'm also not as distracted on the kitchen in the kitchen, because my computer's not there, I don't have all these tabs open. You know, a lot of the time when I'm drawing traditionally, I'm drawing with my boyfriend and we're chatting, and it's just a lot more relaxing of an experience, and I can just focus more on, well actually I can just focus less on the actual drawing. I'm more focused on enjoying the medium, and then the good art, the art that you like is like a byproduct of that. So I did not so long ago, I did a watercolour painting of Ventus from Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep? Yeah, Birth by Sleep. And it was just a silly little headshot because I wanted to try out some watercolouring. But I actually really liked the way I drew his face. And I didn't even think about it. I wasn't thinking about facial structures and how I need to get better at drawing noses, because I do. I was just thinking of make it big so if I mess up the line art it won't be as noticeable, and make sure I give myself loads of room to put the washes down. You know, I wasn't sitting there focused on, oh, and his eyes need to be this exact proportion, and they need to be halfway up the face, and you know, I was subconsciously thinking about that, but it wasn't my main focus. And because of that, I didn't get stressed out when something looked really bad. I was just like, change it. It wasn't as soul destroying as it is when you're really, really hyper focusing on a picture. My final point as well is kind of a personal one, not really personal, but it works for me, but I can't really see this working for a huge amount of people. This is just something that works for me personally. So I'm a people pleaser, and I hate letting people down, and I hate failing, and I hate knowing that I can't do something. So if I'm finding that I'm giving up on art and I'm not really doing a lot at the moment, I will open art trades. So I did a batch recently, or I'll take requests on my Tumblr or something. And that motivation of knowing that somebody is waiting for me to finish a picture, that can just help me completely push past the art block. I don't know what it is, I think it's just because I'm just so desperate to please people. How sad is that? But it just helps me ignore the voice in my head that's like, oh, it's wrong, it looks bad, it looks awful. I mean, obviously I still worry about that kind of stuff, I still want to produce something good, but it just pushes me to go past that and go, well, if it does look bad, how do I fix it? Instead of, oh, it looks bad, I give up. Because unfortunately that is my default. So anyway, those are my tips for trying to overcome art block. Hopefully this is useful to some people, and if not, I'm sorry. If you could like, that'd be really greatly appreciated. Hopefully I'll do more of these in the future, but I'm not 100% sure. Bye!